What's going on, everybody? Podcast Elrond back at you with another episode. Let's go.
Episode 5, Stephen? Is this episode 5?
Yes, sir. Who would have thought?
Man, that's exciting.
Normally thank the audience at the end, but dang, thank you everybody for, the support, for the engagement, for all of the comments. Some people are even commenting, and it's helping me out. And I'm sure Alec, you're getting a bunch out of the interaction too. So I'm loving this.
Yeah, man. The love is real on YouTube. The love is real on Twitter. It's pretty awesome. I had someone even DM me about the podcast. So it's cool, man. I never expected us to be. It's nothing like, oh, we're influencers in the YouTube space right now. But we're further along than I ever expected us to be. So it's pretty cool, dude, and appreciate all the love.
Yeah, and I think that at bare minimum, it's cool to have some viewers and some support. But really, what's exciting for me is that, because people are thirsty to learn and to, get excited together, that's why we're having people watch our videos and listen to the podcast. So it's clear that people are getting excited out there, and it's really fun to be a part of it and play a very small role in just the excitement and also the knowledge.
Yeah, man. The community, the Elrond community itself is such an awesome community as a whole. The excitement is real out there, and the thirst for knowledge is definitely real. And you can just see a lot of newcomers coming into the space too, and just trying to get a feel and understand of what's going on in this system as a whole. But yeah, man, it's an exciting time to be alive, and it's an exciting time to be in MyR.
Absolutely. And I like that you say it's an exciting time to be in MyR. Alec and I did watch some interviews, specifically the London Real interview, kind of in preparation for this, and something we'll probably get into later. But I'm personally excited about this. It seemed as though Beniamin Mincu was really excited about the MyR application and the role that it plays in it's almost like the fourth element of the trilemma that Elrond solved, and it's this issue so far of user interface and seamlessness, and how well integrated this entire, not this, but the entire economy is. And the most recent update from the MyR application, now your NFTs are stored on app. I don't know, I always viewed MyR is just kind of a wallet, and for some reason, maybe it's because I haven't until Elrond, I haven't been heavily in NFTs, but it's low-key, I get way too excited about the fact that it's not just a place to store my Elrond and my mechs and all these tokens, but it's I've got my NFTs securely stored in my possession. And it's just the little stuff that's, it just continues to keep me going and getting me pumped about this.
Yeah, and if y'all haven't had a chance to watch some of that London Real TV interview, it's a pretty good one. I haven't been able to watch the whole thing, but the parts that I have been able to watch, I did get to see the part about the user interface and what Beniamin was saying about that. And I think one of the most powerful things that hasn't clicked in my head yet was the hero tags. He was talking about the addresses, this 30-something string characters, numbers, and all this stuff. And then he brought up the seamless user interface and the thought of the hero tags. And that's when it clicked for me, man. Yeah. I was like, that is genius.
Yeah.
That is smart, because, if you can get mass adoption, and then you can get all these people who are using the MyR app, and then we continue to get coins, hopefully, that continue to, I'm sure it will,
Definitely.
that continue to populate the MyR exchange, then that's going to be super powerful. People can just literally give someone their hero tag and send money back and forth. It's a beautiful thing, and it's really cool, man.
Yeah, totally. And literally, I love speaking with you, Alec, and having this audience, because it literally helps me to make realizations myself. And as you just mentioned about the hero tag, and as I was listening to the interview, honestly, I was like, okay, hero tags are great, but who is actually, nobody's actually memorizing the characters. It's all about copy and paste. So why is Beniamin getting all excited about hero tags? And it's just my brain just kind of clicked and had the realization of, it's not the fact of like, oh, now it's a a 30 character address brought into a simple hero tag. It's not, I don't think, as I kind of realized, like, that's not the significant element. The significant element is more so that if a newcomer comes to like any blockchain, it's just like this idea of a long, like, lengthy random address is just like, what the heck is this? Like, it feels foreign. But we are used to email addresses, we are used to usernames, and I mean, that's what clicked for me, is like, the hero tag is an element that nobody cares about, and that's the emphasis, is that you don't look twice at it. It just is, it just makes sense. It's what we're used to. Whereas other blockchains, you might, have this long address that you easily copy and paste, but the idea of a long address can almost be like, just like, intimidating and make you feel like you're interacting with something like so much more complex, and that can be scary. And yeah, so I'll leave it at that, because that's cool.
And I think you just said something cool that I didn't say, is the fact the newcomers, and that's the really important part. What are we sitting at? About 1.2, maybe 1.3 million users of the Maiar exchange itself. Yeah. So just that's not a large percentage of the world's population. So imagine starting to onboard more of the world becomes awake to the Maiar exchange, and imagine being a new user and jumping into that user experience, and you're given a hero tag. It makes everything seem a lot simpler, man.
Yeah,
you're right, and I didn't even think about from that new user perspective. That's a definitely a bright way to, or a really good way to look at it.
Yeah, and just cultivate conversation. Also, anybody who's looking here, so growth.elrond.com, an excellent resource to keep track of the growth metrics. There are a few different spots that note the growth of the network and so forth. But just to touch on that, since Alec, you mentioned about user numbers. So we're looking at 4 billion market cap right now for Elrond. But quick note that it is just pretty crazy. Obviously, the market from a high level, from Bitcoin all the way down, has been going through a period of downtrend for a while now. But over the past week or week and a half or so, we definitely got kind of a switch of mentality where definitely some people are capitulating, and definitely a big dose of uncertainty has been added to the market. So it's crazy that the Maiar exchange brought the market cap, I think it did surpass 10 billion. So it's come down a good ways, but what's really crazy is the user adoption, and how when price goes up like that, it just naturally brings new users and brings attention. And I mean, that's a big conversation about bear markets and about where they come from and what effect the bear market has. And I personally like it. And I'll give you the last thing I'll say before I give you a chance here, Alec, is just like, when Maiar DEX launched, there was a mess of new people coming in and chattering. And I mean, whenever things were looking great, it was excitement. But as soon as the market started to turn, like, this great number of new users just turned into, just negative players in the game. And the emphasis is like, that is what bear markets are for, is let's figure out who really believes and who really understands and knows and values their position in this project, in this network. So downtrends kind of suck, but like, silver lining is definitely like, it gets rid of all of the foam. And, everybody is used to the saying like, buy the dip. But for people who are into it and eager, gives them a chance to get a little bit more.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be right if we didn't talk about the current downtrend, especially on this podcast. Because totally. I believe on the last podcast, I could be getting this wrong, but we started to enter another uptrend, and we thought we were beginning to we thought we were getting back to those levels that we were happy with, and currently, no. Yeah. We have definitely fallen to major support levels. I believe we're sitting above $200 right now.
I think so. Yeah.
That major support of the 195 area is really key. But yeah, so we have definitely seen a downtrend. I myself still fully believe in the project. Totally. I myself am currently investing in the project. I bought some more when I probably shouldn't have because I'm buying a house, which was just a dumb move.
Oh yeah! Shout out to Alec. Alec and his wife are buying a house. Congrats.
Yee. But probably shouldn't buy E-Gold while I'm buying a house. Anyways. But yeah, I mean, I just couldn't.
Pennies on the dollar. Pennies, like half of pennies on a dollar.
The way I see it, it's just gonna go up.
Yeah.
But not financial advice, of course.
Always.
Yeah, man. I see it as a discount. I try not to give into the FUD surrounding it all. I'm just like, okay, it's a new discount. I'm farming, so like totally, yeah. I'm protecting myself. I'm dollar cost averaging, so I'm not feeling the effects as much as other people.
Totally. And I probably talk about it too much. The fact that I've been buying crypto for a few years now, and it's obviously taken some appreciation of my portfolio's value to get to this mental spot, but really to this day I do value the number of cryptocurrency I have. And you mentioned that you didn't feel the effect of the downturn, but it's 100% right, and it's probably kind of like a beaten to death concept, but like the price only affects you as going down if you decide to sell, and obviously you don't want to be on, you don't want to be at the bottom of the ocean because you stuck with the sinking ship the whole way. But obviously that analogy does not apply here because the argument is investing in valuable assets over a longer period of time is going to set you up for that success. And that's the emphasis, is markets go down, but somebody did comment on one of the videos and really called it out, especially as just how staking, how yield farming, and if you're a liquidity provider, you're earning some of the fees. There are ways, and this is discussed on that London Real interview as well. It's just like create opportunities for people to be rewarded for engaging with, participating with, building with the network.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important part of the whole DeFi system, is the fact that Beniamin was talking about turning or I can't remember if it was Beniamin or the host, but turning financials, they used to be this boring thing, but turning it into something that's now exciting.
Yes. Yeah. To interrupt, I loved they talk about the gamification aspect, and that really excited me because it's just one of those other things. Like first it was NFTs, then it was the metaverse, and now it's intertwined, but really just the conversation surrounding the gamification. And Beniamin talks about how with like gamifying something, it doesn't become a matter of attracting the user. It becomes dangerous because people overuse it. Like literally, like how many people have you heard of or know that just like game all the time? And like that clicked for me too. I was talking with somebody just last night about how much of like their middle school years were spent playing, I think they're called like MMORPGs.
Yeah,
I've never been into gaming, so that's all a new concept. I know, RuneScape and whatever the games are, there are a lot of them. I'm familiar that they exist, but I'm unfamiliar with interacting with them.
Yeah, man, and I think that's going to be probably a multi-trillion-dollar industry within the crypto space, in my opinion. I mean, already I saw a chart yesterday, and this doesn't really have to do with crypto, but I believe the gaming market more than double in terms of revenue makes more than double the box office.
Whoa.
Let that sink in.
Say it again. I want to hear that again.
So the video game industry in terms of revenue makes more than double the box office.
Wow.
So that means there's more money in video gaming than any other type of entertainment out there. Because, I mean, think about all your other forms of entertainment. You have videos, you have podcasts, music, but then you have gaming, man. And that's a thing that almost the whole population, the whole world can get into. And if we're starting to integrate that into the crypto sphere, Beniamin said something powerful. He said, what did he say? He said something about cryptos being just one big MMORPG or something like that. If you remember that,
No,
and that
not
London
particularly,
Real.
but
Yeah, but the gamification, man, I think that is a big part of the future, and that is going to be a huge industry within the cryptosphere. Because I mean, imagine that's your job.
right. That's exactly, if we were
Yeah.
still on topic and I got a chance to talk, that's what I was going to address too. Is, I mean, it's like, as technology has progressed, like some people are worried about AI taking over jobs. But what if, like, there's no need for a certain, people don't need to work, or rather there's no more competition. It's like, it's a clean break. AI, sure, take over those jobs. I'm going to be busy making my living gaming on the metaverse. Like, I don't know.
Yes.
Obviously, but that's a big different conversation, because that's literally just a completely different world we're talking about, where AI and robots are, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, how humanity progresses with this new technology.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that Elrond is trying to position themselves to put themselves in a good place for when this does happen. Because, in my opinion, it's only inevitable.
Yeah.
We are, I mean, we're like blazing towards that point faster than I think anyone realizes.
Yeah.
We're quickly moving there, and I think COVID had a lot to do with it. It made us realize that we can work from home. We can, like, you don't need people out in the workforce. And there's especially this labor market part, there's a lot of, I believe it's McDonald's that are considering automating their restaurants.
That'd
because
be so weird. Like, it would feel like a robot burger. I mean, but it is already so processed. It kind of aligns.
I mean, if there's no one that wants to work, then I mean that's the kind of next move.
Yeah.
And
It's
I mean,
not the next
it's-
move. The world would need to adapt to it, and not
Yeah.
so much the people, but like a McDonald's run by robots. It's like, if literally the workforce is non-existent because there's not enough demand, there's not enough reward in terms of dollar wage due to inflation, due to all sorts of stuff. Like, it will become it won't be so much, oh, we're worried about AI taking over, as much as it's like, oh my gosh, like, we need AI to come in and to do some of these jobs, because we don't have anybody to do them. And like,
yes.
I mean, it's just crazy how some of those low wage jobs are just so integral to society. And honestly, man, like, I'm gonna say a cuss word, even though, demonetization.
Do it, Stephen.
But dude,
Do
it's
it.
fucked up. And I'm gonna take this opportunity to mention another conversation on that London Real interview, and just how come money and how come managing finances, it's not in our education system. And it was really, I'll say it again, it was really fucked up to hear them conversate about that, because he's the not Beniamin, but the interviewer is talking about how, poor people work for money and rich people make money work for them. And, certain positions in lives, understanding the aspect of asset ownership is something that's been like denied from the education system. And really, this is just paraphrasing, this is not my own words. But he talks about how there are generations of he says generational mindset of poverty, a generational poverty mindset. And he's talking about how, not just with gaming, but like how crypto breaks that. And it's transparent. And that's the big emphasis that they talk about. And obviously that Elrond and blockchain touts is the transparency, and how when you do things behind closed doors, you can do whatever you want because it's secretive. But when it's transparent, it changes the way that people act.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I've been thinking over the past couple weeks about how all of this is going to change the world that we're in. And I was actually telling my wife the other day as I was putting my shoes on, I was like, I don't think people understand what kind of wave we are on right now.
Yeah.
There is a coming tide, literally just rushing its way over,
Yeah.
and no one understands what's about to happen. The U.S. government is so ignorant to it all too. It just makes me sad, man. And all this
Confused.
crypto.
I'm a little confused on a few different levels.
I believe I read the other day that the SEC is not allowing spot ETFs for Bitcoin anymore.
They'll continue
which-
to keep their grip.
Yeah, and so that's what's making me upset too, was reading that news. I was like, how out of touch do you have to be to realize that this is the next big thing and you're trying to shoo it away from our shores?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's just the aspect of decentralization, and the whole just foundational supply and demand metric of Bitcoin is something that was super exciting for me, but especially as I was a part of a few, bull runs, just some significant positive moves in the market. It's like every time, the market starts to move in a positive direction and the energy felt in the market, it's like, oh my gosh, exactly what you just said, Alec. Like, this is a wave, and like it's going to rise and fall, and it's going to attract people, and then some people will obviously fall away, but over time these cycles will continue to capture more. And dude, I totally 100% agree with you, to where, to kind of use like an analogy of like looking at a chart, like a price chart and candlestick patterns. It's like you look at it and it's like the price is at the all-time high, which is normally like the perfect moment for like shit to hit the fan and like 80% drop in the market. But there is a rising level of support here. And with so like utter confidence, I do believe that we are just on the cusp where, we had a shakeout, over these past 2 weeks, and people are flipping out and, oh my gosh, like, is it going to go lower? But it's like, yo, like, I genuinely believe this sounds so crypto fanboy, but we are on the cusp of just explosion, like an utter, and it's going. I think if I never mentioned it in our podcast, I've definitely shared this in conversation with you, that like cryptocurrency and the power that it brings, it will pose problems. It will be an issue. And, immediately I would not say it'll be an issue for, the individuals who are being empowered by it, but definitely more so over time, it's going to pose serious threats to centralization, of course, like banks, like governments. The world is going to be connected in a way that the internet connected us, but in a completely different way, because it's integrating the finance side with the just communication, what the internet has done from Web 2.0.
yeah, man, and that reminds me of a headline that I see constantly circulating around the Instagram and Twitter and stuff that says millions abandon the internet, blah blah blah, and that was like written in 1990 something, and I'm like, look, the whole world uses the internet now, and I feel like crypto is and like someone was referencing that with crypto, and they're like, we're in the same exact space where people will continue to deny its utility, its value, and then one day there will be a complete flip, and they're gonna be like, I don't care what you say, or the whole world will just acknowledge that it is valuable, and then yeah, man, we're off to the races.
Yeah. And that's definitely also too part of the mentality that got me investing in crypto too, was, that it was just so interesting to me how it made a lot of sense. But when I tried to talk to people about it, it seemed like all they wanted to do was echo back to me what all of your, Warren Buffett's or your just traditional type people are sharing, through the media. And it was just like, it was almost like a green light for me that so many people were against it, because it, as they say, buy when there's like blood on the streets, but like buy assets when less people or no people are like interested in it. Obviously that doesn't work if it's a poor, like just a bad buy. But yeah, that's what I mean by I'm confused, because all of these elements, all of these problems that are being solved, and this new frontier that's coming about, it's exciting. It's I mean, not just exciting, but it's progressive. Like, it's literally progressive. Like, it is the next industrial revolution, but it's happening behind a computer screen.
It is so progressive that it's almost scary.
Totally.
Because it's a human paradigm shift. I think this is a human paradigm shift, man, to where you, as what Elrond wants to do is give you back your time. And I think that's what crypto is going to do as a whole. I really hope so. I really hope that's the direction that crypto is starting to head. I really hope that's the direction that the metaverse is going to head into, is to where it's a proof of work, proof of stake kind of thing. You play a game, you're in a metaverse. The reason you're earning money for the things that you're doing is because you're providing data, you're providing security in some type of way. You're providing something to the. It's like this mass sharing, man.
It is, yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about decentralization. Like,
I
with
like
the
that. Mass sharing. It really is.
yes, and like you hear Democrats talk about like share. I don't want to get political. I'm sorry.
We'll cut that out.
Yeah.
You hear one side.
You hear one side talk about like share the wealth, share the wealth, share the wealth. This is it.
Yeah.
This is the way to share the wealth. I mean, look at UTRUST, the UTRUST acquisition. Did you read about what the vendors on who will use UTRUST receive for using UTRUST?
Yeah, I read a short snippet about how it's going to be like there was some element of added revenue that was just like, whoa, like that is completely like unprecedented.
I don't want to say this wrong, but I believe it was around 3 to 5% kickback per transaction.
Wow. And is that just due to the efficiency problem that was solved in cutting out the middleman?
I think that's just due to the nature of maybe the fact that you're using crypto, and
who knows?
There's rewards. I don't know why, but I just know that this whole new Web3 thing, I think it's all built around sharing. It's all built around sharing the wealth, sharing fees and stuff,
And I mean that kicked off the spark in my head again about that comment about just transparency and about whenever there's no opportunity for people to come along and play a negative role and to abuse a system, it really seems as though one of those tangible shifts will be like, okay, like because it's transparent, not to say that everybody is inherently evil, but it's more so just like, this is transparent. So like there's almost this more, the higher level of accountability, and it will help with that mentality of we are sharing because it's something to be shared and excited about. And also too, there aren't people that we need to be scared of about interacting. Like there's less area for distrust and manipulation to form even on the peer-to-peer basis.
Yeah, and with decentralization, it's the beauty about decentralization is that no one completely owns that asset,
Yeah.
And like with eGold and with participating in the Maiar exchange, what's powerful about that decentralization is the sharing of fees. Sorry, camera's cut out. But like I was saying, the beauty of decentralization is this mass sharing. And on the Maiar exchange, you have these sharing of fees. It's not the people at the top, like in centralized banking, gobbling up your fees because they own that platform. Like let's say you're using Cash App, you're paying that fee to even buy it, send it to
Zelle is another one I know is used by several banks.
Yeah, and those you're paying all those fees. You're not getting any of those fees for using their system. Because you're using their system, the people at the top in centralized systems are getting wealthy because they have all these users coming on. But imagine you're at the ground floor of one of these brand new DeFi networks and the user adoption rate continues to grow. That means your share of fees continue to grow as user adoption rate continues to grow. And that's what's powerful.
Yeah. And then, I mean, not to change the topic at all, but also to the fact that MEX, for every transaction, it's going to burn a portion of MEX. Like, so it's also interesting too that by interacting with the network, you're like making some of your assets more scarce. So, I mean, obviously that's like super like underlying level, but that's still like cool how like even those interacting with and maybe completely unaware of that element, like they're still adding value by like burning some of the asset, making it more scarce. And that's just like, I don't know. I thought that was an interesting point to add as well.
Yeah, the deflationary mechanism in there is definitely a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
And we excuse me, we just scraped over UTRUST without even talking about it. Like, I think we should go into that. That's, in my opinion, is a big deal. What do you think about it, Stephen?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I read the article and I don't so much have information on the technicals as much as I have more just kind of ideas bouncing around about really, just the continued conversation of what, the question being, what is Elrond Network building? And I mean, because this isn't just, they're taking every opportunity and every chance they can. They're seeking out partnerships there. And they didn't just partner up with UTRUST, but they acquired it. It was an acquisition. And there is also the acquisition, I believe it was also an acquisition of TWISPAY. And I mean, so something to emphasize really quickly is that Beniamin is not so much on board of this is a war and we need to be the one that survives. He does talk about how the Web3 and the progression of cryptocurrency and blockchain. He says that he sees the space as several different multi-trillion-dollar networks. So obviously, for those who are invested, we want to see our investment, our cryptocurrency, be the next one or whatever. But it is refreshing, and I think it gives the team a really positive and involved sense when they're not looking at the competitors as competition. Rather, they're staying in their own lane and they're getting excited about what they're building. I mean, because of all the positive things that you and I have been sharing today. But back to the UTRUST and TWISPAY conversation before I shove it to some other tangent again.
I think what the people need to know about this UTRUST acquisition is what this means. So if you don't know what UTRUST is I don't know if I can call it a software. It's okay, so UTRUST is a payment platform to where merchants can have UTRUST on their site and you can buy their things with crypto and it instantaneously gets transformed into fiat for them, for the merchant. So that's really cool. And also I was reading that I believe it creates a ledger or a QuickBooks thing immediately it creates the QuickBooks with the fiat value. So it's easy for you to also file taxes on your sales. So I don't believe there's anyone else out there in the space. I haven't done my research to confirm that, but I mean, this is a pretty cool thing. And what also blew my mind was I saw a PayPal article saying that like there's a couple hundred countries where they're looking for ways to pay with crypto. And I think Elrond is positioning themselves in a way to hopefully be one of those people to push UTRUST out there to be used in that way.
Totally. So this is from the Elrond blog. Just for the audience here, I'll just share it from this post. It says, with the acquisition of UTRUST, Elrond sets out to accomplish two goals, payments and, as we talked about earlier, merchant yield. So payments make payments faster, cheaper, and more secure by using internet scale blockchain tech. And then that merchant yield aspect, transform payment processing services from a cost for merchants into an income stream. And it goes on to say, Elrond has developed groundbreaking. Oh, wait, that's not what I touch on. So it says, by acquiring UTRUST, buyer protection and crypto to cash settlements, in addition to instant transactions. It says Elrond, together with UTRUST, is building a financial system that will become accessible to anyone, intended to revolutionize e-commerce and payments. Which, I mean, really just it perfectly aligns with, what the purpose of blockchain is, and what Elrond has accomplished with the network itself, the architecture. But what this is this means it's no longer just talk. Like, it ain't just, oh, we built this thing and we're talking about it. It's like, no, like, we actually are doing it. Like, and it's not so much we're doing it as, I don't want to say that it's done, but like it's literally like it's happening before our eyes.
Yeah, dude, it's really cool, and the team continues to press forward and make good on their promises, and that's why I continue to stick with Eagle. That's why I continue to believe in Eagle, even if the USD value goes down. I'm not sweating over it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue to invest.
Totally. So I feel like we've just been really excitedly talking here. I did want to, since the last episode 4 of Podcast Elrond came out before we had a conversation about the ride listing fiasco that kind of happened.
Yes.
And I at least just, if you're a new viewer, and especially if you're new to Elrond, you might hear about the ride listing, especially if and when the next token lists on MyR DEX. There will likely be a rekindling of that conversation about being careful with not so much manipulation, but the point is that the ride listing had some unforeseen problems come up, and Beniamin and the team, this will be a quick conversation because literally, like, so just to recap, there are some players that manipulated the price. They were able to get orders, swaps transferred pretty much before everybody else, and some of them dumped on the market, but other people held. So if you bought high once Ride was listed, then those people who manipulated dumped on the market, and there was a bunch of speculation and FUD about how this was like a rug pull by design, about how, just naturally it was kind of a mess for the Elrond team surrounding what should have been a super exciting and super positive listing. It kind of turned into bad press. But the really just the end of that conversation was that the Elrond team both communicated with, they came to conclusions about having these manipulators return some of the funds. Elrond even used some of their own money and purchased back some assets. There's a whole thread on Twitter about it. But guys, like, literally, like, not 100% of the money that I lost and everybody else, but I would say that I earned back, that I was returned probably 80% of the value that I lost through that manipulation. They defined a price point as well as a time frame that if you purchased, you would receive, to set right the manipulation. The team sent me, I think they sent me some Ride tokens, but what was so much more substantial than that was just in my MyR, app, I just had Eagle Ride liquidity LP token sitting there. Like, it had a little gift emoji next to it. But I tell you what, I could not believe that they did that. It was part of my strategy when Ride listed to buy some as quickly as I could. I had a small portion allocated to just buy as quickly as I could, and then once the market settled down, I might add some more depending on how it goes. So was I stoked that I lost money? No, but I kind of anticipated it. Like, I did not buy Ride expecting for my position to like double and triple and quadruple in the first like moments, like it seemed like a lot of other people did. I approached it as, hey, I just want to get some of this as quickly as I can. And yeah, I wasn't stoked that I lost a lot of money because of the manipulation. But boy, oh boy, like, in my opinion, like Beniamin and the entire team, like, they went so far above and beyond to serve the community and to, correct what turned into just a horrible result of that listing on the platform. And whenever you decide to interact with, decentralized networks and so forth, if you make a mistake, if you lose your keys, if you accidentally make an error typing, like there's nobody to point to and be like, oh, like you're to blame. So the fact of the matter is that Elrond didn't need to do a damn thing, but they like honestly, they bent over backwards and like they cared nothing about their own, their own pocketbooks. They literally eyes were set on community, building up positivity, and setting this foundation of excitement and growth that for a brief moment in time was kind of wiped away because of this, unfortunate event. I mean, the point has been made. They set that right. And that to me blew my mind. And golly, like every, a higher level emphasis point from that is just like, for goodness sake, like people on Twitter seem very short-minded and very impatient when it seems like so evident to me that this team is building, they are building diligently, and they are keeping their eyes and ears open to how they can continue to support. This isn't just a bunch of devs in the office typing code and just sending it out there and just hoping that, things work out well. Like they give a damn.
Yeah, and customer support is not something you would ever expect from a cryptocurrency, but here we are with a dev team that cares, that literally, as you said, bent over backwards and made things right and tried to fix this bad publicity. You don't see anyone out there for Ethereum trying to fix or talk about the gas fees, especially any devs. They're not out there like, yeah, we're actively trying to fix this. We're actively trying to make it better. I mean, maybe with Ethereum 2.0, but who knows how far off into the future that is. When
Vaporware.
Yeah.
Do you know what Vaporware is?
I don't.
Vaporware, I actually learned it from Marcus Brownlee, a YouTube tech reviewer. But Vaporware is literally just, it's a form of lying, really. It's like whether it be Apple or Tesla, or Ethereum, they basically pitch an idea or they pitch a product, but we're all waiting around for it to actually be shipped, to actually be delivered to the market. And it's a gray area because it's not fair to actually call that a lie, but it's vaporware. It's not tangible, and it's really just a promise of what's to come. But anyway, vaporware.
I just wish people could see that Eagle has solved everything that Ethereum has an issue with. Even the NFT space. Like,
yeah,
if you're an
talk
artist,
about your tweet. Your tweet got a good amount of attention about NFTs and gas fees.
Yeah, so what set me off is there was a recommended tweet on, I don't know what you call the Twitter thing.
Discover page or Explore, maybe?
Explore.
Or it was just like served to you as an ad, maybe.
Yeah, it was like recommended tweets.
Yeah, I got you.
For investing. And this dude was like waiting on some gas fees so I can mint some NFTs. And I was like, hold on, man. You're literally having to wait around so things aren't expensive to move your money so you can buy something? That's not what this is.
That ain't the way.
No, that's not what it's about, man. It's about freedom of moving your money anytime, anywhere, any place, all the time. And so what I said in my tweet, I was like, I don't understand why people are literally waiting around to move their money on Ethereum because gas fees are high. It doesn't make any sense. There's a platform that already exists to where you can buy NFTs at any second. You can move your money at any second. I'm paying like 9 cents for a transaction, man.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to get that?
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. And Alec, did you buy, have you ever bought an NFT through Ethereum, or are the only NFTs you've ever interacted with on Elrond?
I've only ever interacted with Elrond NFTs, but I do have a Coinbase NFT, which was given to me for free.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah, they released when they changed the Staples Center to the Coinbase.com Center or whatever it's called, Coinbase.com Arena. They were like releasing special NFTs, and I got one for free. So
Crypto.com or Coinbase?
Yeah. Did I say Coinbase?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, crypto.com. I have a crypto.com NFT.
There it is. Okay.
That's when they changed the Staples Arena. And so yeah, it's just like an opening day NFT. It's pretty cool.
The only reason I didn't stop you at the beginning was because I feel like literally today I saw, this is literally not something to talk about, unrelated entirely, but Coinbase NFT is a thing, and apparently like
Really?
I need to look into it, but apparently there's not going to be KYC verification, which, you know, for those of you who are familiar with the Elrond Launchpad, it's another tool on the Elrond ecosystem that actually played a role in the ride listing. So the Meyer Launchpad will see more projects get their start on the Launchpad, and from there, I believe that they'll show up on the Meyer DEX. But a lot of, I mean, especially for us in the United States, we were disallowed from interacting with the Launchpad and the ticketing system for earning ride before it listed, because we are US based. But apparently, again, it's completely off topic and irrelevant, but apparently there's some sort of Coinbase NFT. I'm not sure if this is a marketplace or what it is, but apparently it's not KYC, so it's going to be pretty accessible.
Oh, I'll definitely have to look into that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever mentioned that the Meyer app itself, there's no KYC to it.
No,
You
yeah.
just get it. Yeah. And I remember when I first got it, you told me to download it, and I was like, what's next? But it was done. I
That's
was like,
hilarious.
oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's all set up. Yeah, it was super seamless, super easy, and that's what Beniamin was talking about when it comes to the UX
Totally.
UI.
And it's hilarious to me too, because again, I think, I mean, it was almost a realization that I had after the fact, but it's just like, yeah, like the Meyer app is the Elrond wallet, is Meyer Exchange. Like, it's not like you buy Elrond on the app and then you have to send it over so you could use the DEX. It's like, it's all right there. Like, it's like different interfaces, but it's like all the same, you know, it's all the same network. But there's not
Yeah.
any BS. There aren't any extra road bumps to get over.
Yeah, and the Wallet Connect thing is really
Oh,
beautiful
yeah.
too. I mean, you got like 3 different NFT markets out there. You got Trust Market, you got eMoon.space, and you have Dead Rare.
Yeah.
And all those are just, the moment you log in, it doesn't matter where you purchased your NFT from. You go to My Collection,
Yeah.
every single one of your NFTs are listed
That
there.
was kind of like at first confusing for me too. I was like, wait, this isn't eMoon. Like, how come the NFTs I bought on eMoon are being, you know, listing here? It's like, for a second there, I almost made like the same relation between like Facebook and Instagram, but you know, those are the same thing. But before that happened, it's like logging into Facebook and like seeing like your Instagram profile and being like, what's going on here? Like, this is a different platform. Super weird, but like in the best way possible.
Yeah, super seamless.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really cool. So like, I can buy an NFT on eMoon and then list it on Dead Rare.
Yeah.
And I don't have to transfer anything. It's
That's
just
so
there
cool.
because it's the Elrond blockchain.
Yeah.
You know?
And there is another point of the Elrond NFT that's important. Apparently, again, I am not going to claim to be into NFTs and knowledgeable about them. I'm totally 100% learning. But there was a infographic that I came past, and basically it's communicating to me. So if you happen to know anything about this, viewer, let us know in the comments. But apparently it says Ethereum's token standards assigns the ownership of the token to, you know, just some kind of almost like third party. But Elrond smart accounts allow tokens to be stored directly under the account itself instead of the smart contract storing info. It says Elrond's account is directly saying these tokens are mine. And that was just like super cool for me to learn that, you know, I've never interacted with NFTs on Ethereum, but it's just another element to add to like, cool, like, okay, I guess this is an issue that other blockchains have, but it's something that I don't have to worry about because it's already been looked out for.
Yeah, it is really cool because, yeah, it turns your NFT into an ESDT, so an Elrond standard digital token. and that's what makes it powerful. It's an ESDT at that point, and it's no longer hosted on the smart contract like you're saying. So yeah, that is yours.
Yeah.
That is your NFT. That is your art, and it's on the blockchain, and no one can. I mean, that's irrefutable proof.
Yeah, and I mean that's obviously a positive element. It's a bullish case for the Elronds that exist, but if we haven't talked about it on the podcast at all before, but just like the tokenization of everything, of real estate and of different assets in the real world. So again, I think it's just one more significant point to add for Elrond's case, that they're doing NFTs in a way that, as I've come to learn, is imperfect. And not to say that Elrond is perfect, but it's really a matter of how many times do you come to a problem in your mind and you look and you are trying to discover the solution. And essentially every time that I have had or have learned about different problems that are, relevant in this space, it's like, oh, like Elrond thought of it. Like, it sounds so probably fanboy, but it's just like, I'll just leave it at this. There is a reason that I own Elrond and am freaking making this podcast to talk about it.
Yeah, man, we are both definitely excited. We're both pretty bullish on Elrond, and I'm sure we'll continue to be so for quite a long time.
Yeah. So moving forward, I guess there are other people who are getting impatient about, what's next for the DEX regarding when are some tokens going to be added onto it. So I just want to remind everybody that, the Maiar decentralized exchange is the in-house exchange, and there will be a lot of projects to come on it, but there are different entities, like different companies, businesses, whatever you want to call it, like they're already existing without being listed on Maiar DEX. Like there are different companies that are making ESDTs for their protocol or whatever you want to refer to it as. So I guess just the emphasis is that it's the token element of ESDT. It doesn't rely on Maiar DEX. Maiar DEX is just a marketplace. And sometimes I forget about that like Maiar DEX actually brings this into existence. It's like, no, like there's already, people making tokens out there. And that's just a reminder for me and anybody else who might be getting impatient for some reason about, more tokens coming to the DEX. But
yeah, the team is always building. They constantly have projects out there that are being built as well. I believe we had so much news released over the past week about the Something Incubator in Dubai.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They're having a project coming out soon. I believe we hear about it on the 27th. I could be completely wrong.
Well,
or we already heard about it.
I think they already made the announcement, but yeah, I mean, like, it was literally like either a day or 2 days that like there was just seemingly like 5 different big announcements, and like I don't know, maybe they didn't think about it because literally like there were some things that I missed because, it kind of went from this like bearish mentality of like, oh dear, like where's all the excitement now that the market's going down? And then like we had like a few positive days in the market in addition to all of this super positive news about acquisitions, about broadening of the ecosystem. And I don't know, it just, for me especially, it's like, I've really just kind of grown numb to a lot of the announcements because it's just like I'm not concerned. Like I can carry on with my life unconcerned about missing an announcement because the team is literally just continuing to pump out, and there's going to be continued positive news, and if I miss something, it doesn't even really matter.
Constant innovation, man. And the thing on the roadmap that I'm most excited for, and I think will be the most powerful, is probably their mirror protocol whenever they're able to get that started up and going. I will tell you right now, I will ape into anything that deals with the mirror protocol because I think, this is getting pretty deep into it, but like I think the synthetics are going to be the future.
Is there anything else? Not again to get too deep into it, but is there anything in particular that you're I mean, what do you mean by that? I haven't looked into much of that at all.
So this like when Wesley Kress mentions when Wesley Kress mentions this mirror protocol stuff, he's referring to synthetics, and synthetics refer to real world assets reflected on the blockchain. So let's say an Apple stock. So the stock market, it only trades during certain hours. But let's say you have a synthetic of Apple stock running on the Elrond blockchain.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So therefore you have a mirror of that Apple product, but it's on the blockchain. You're able to trade that 24/7. Not only can you mirror that, but there's many different things that could be mirrored on the blockchain and have a value to them, and that will be tradable 24/7, just like crypto assets.
Yeah, that's just so crazy, and it brings up thoughts for me about like, I mean, it'll be crazy to be, a younger person growing up in this age, whereas in my 20s, kind of cell phones and social media were kind of the spotlight growing up. But like it's crazy to me how like the technology is almost getting away from me, to where it's like, oh my gosh, like I want to be involved in developing and building and really, starting to use some of these protocols for what they're designed to do. But it's honestly like it sucks, and hopefully I can improve with this mentality, but it's a little bit intimidating just to feel how quickly things are growing and progressing, and I'm feeling like it's getting away from me, like having ideas of like, oh, maybe I'll make an NFT, or maybe I'll tokenize this, or it's like where do I focus my efforts, and like I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah, you and me both, bro. I mean, it is intimidating. There's a lot of technology out there, and I think what makes it as intimidating is that I have seen some things flop, and I don't want to invest my time in something that is a waste of time.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to find the right technology to be excited about and to learn more about, because I only have so much space up here, man, and I can't fit it all.
And time, like you have a job and you need to go and work, and at the end of the day, you're tired. You want to spend time with your wife. It's like, it's not like you're going to go to work and then immediately just like pour your every last bit of energy into.
It's hard.
I mean, yeah. So that's what I was kind of getting at, is not to count me out or count us out, but I will say that those who are growing up into and through this age, like my oh my, they're really going to change the world, and who knows when or how it will play out. Hopefully I'll be around to see it, as long as it's, positive.
Camera's cut out again. We're back. We're approaching the end of the bootstrapping season. So that means APR is going to start. I mean, it's already has been going down quite a bit. I know myself, I'm going to continue to farm. And what are you going to do now that bootstrapping is approaching its end?
Yeah. So I was able to earn a lot of lock mechs, especially towards the front end of the bootstrapping, so the first 8 weeks were heavily weighted towards mechs rewards, and each week it stepped down. So I think that technically the next year is still considered bootstrapping, but weeks 9 through 52 will be a consistent block rewards for mechs. So something cool to keep in mind, because obviously these last 8 weeks have been super valuable to earn lock mechs, but that's not going away. We're going to continue to have the next year of continued opportunity to earn. So I'm going to continue to keep my eyes open to different pools that come and go. Obviously, as new tokens are listed, that will affect kind of what we have in front of us. But I will say that over the past, I think, 3 weeks, like about near the last time we had episode 4, there was a lock mex pool that was listed on the farming page. And I did participate in that, because what it allowed you to do was it allowed you to take lock mex, which is, again, is a locked asset. It's non-touchable essentially, but you stake your LockMex, and I and many others were able to earn liquid assets based off of LockMex. And, on Twitter, you'll find all sorts of people talking their crap. I thought it was incredible. I was floored by it. And, there was a discussion about, first class citizen for LockMex owners. And we'll see how that continues to pan out. But for me, I felt like a first class citizen sticking my LockMex in this pool because, LockMex is great, but there are some unknowns with on those unlock schedules. What will the price of MEX be? How many people are also going to sell? And, that may, cause supply shock to lower the price, So just the fact that I'm earning LockMex, but then I was also compounding it into this ride pool, earning me real dollars, like real eagled is all I was doing, was just using it to accumulate more. So that pool ended. At this point, I have the majority of my liquidity earning LockMex, and it's doing so in Eagled Ride LP. So I'm pretty bullish on Holoride, and it especially helps that the team was able to rectify the manipulation at launch. So at this point, I'm kind of seeing my ownership of LockMex as my stake in MEX. So that's why I don't have much liquidity allocated to Eagled MEX LP. And that's just my opinion. But I've bounced around quite a good amount from being 100% in Eagled, and then at one point I was 100% in MEX, and that is no longer where I'm at if I ever I didn't finish with that convo. But yeah, I'm kind of bouncing around, and really I'm just trying to adapt. I don't want to call myself a yield chaser, but I'm kind of chasing yield a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't see the DEX as the emphasis. Like, I see the emphasis as Elrond Network, Elrond ownership, the ecosystem, and the acquisitions and partnerships and so forth that they're building underneath. Like, again, like some people, especially if you were brought into Elrond because of the DEX, maybe like the DEX is it for you. But for me, like, the DEX, from one perspective, the DEX is like the bowl that holds the sundae and all the toppings. But like, to me, like on a completely different intrinsic level, like the DEX is the cherry on top. So it goes with my trading kind of perspective, mentality, and philosophy with investment. But I am perfectly content with what the team is doing only on the side of Elrond. And then you bring in the DEX as well. And I'm just so satisfied and happy with what I have. And I'm not being impatient. I'm not being demanding about, oh, win this, win that. Like, and that's really my encouragement to everybody else. I feel like if you're watching this, you're kind of like you have kind of a higher level, like, your brain is turned on to this, like, your team Elrond. You're not just like some Twitter person, talking crap. But yeah, if you have any doubts, just remind yourself that Elrond was valuable like far before the DEX.
Yeah, and for me, I'm just going to continue compounding my interest even after this bootstrapping is over, because I continue to believe in the value, man. And like you said, that first-class citizenship thing, it was shown with that ride pool, the LockMex ride pool. You were able to take literally intangible assets and earn...
untouchable assets too, yeah.
Yes, and earn liquid, real cash assets. And I think we're going to only continue to see those kind of things come onto the system. Yeah.
So, we sometimes, obviously we've only done 5 episodes of this. Sometimes there are slight lulls in the excitement of, what everyone's talking about and the energy we're sharing. But it's like literally like the boat, whatever analogy, the train, the boat, the rocket ship, like it's pressing on. And gosh, like, I don't know, like, I think that we're all just so privileged, and really just I don't know if privilege is the right word, but it's just like I'm stoked to be able to use all of this for free, essentially. I mean, obviously I have to buy Elrond and buy MEX, but like I'm just a user. and they're not asking anything of me.
They're providing a lot of value for the user. And when you first brought this to my attention, you called it a money printer. It sounded fake.
I deny that.
Like
I didn't say that. I don't know. I can neither confirm or deny.
And now here I am having printed quite a bit of money. So
yeah.
I am thankful to be a part of this whole thing, and it truly is powerful. And I mean, it's hard to stop something this powerful. And once people begin to realize how powerful it is, it's you know what it is.
Once the genie leaves the bottle, you can't get the genie back in. One time my parents had me, as like growing up with my brothers, they were like, all right, everybody spray out the entire tube of toothpaste. And then they gave us a toothpick. And it was like a like lesson on patience or something. Or no, it was a lesson on, saying something and you can't take back what you said. So it's like, calling a name or like insulting my brothers. It's like, take the tube of toothpaste and try to put all the toothpaste back in with a toothpick. It's like same concept of you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
How long did they make you try to put that toothpaste back in?
It was very short. Like it was
good.
3 days.
Mom, when is this gonna stop?
Please, can I at least have some food and water? Eat the toothpaste. All right, man. Well, hey, I think that's a great place to end for today. What do you think?
I think so too, dude. Once we start talking about eating toothpaste, I think we're done.
That's the time to cut it. So yeah, I definitely encourage all of the viewers to say hello on Twitter, and huge thank you once more of just being involved. This is not Alec and me versus you, or not versus, like this is all of us together, and it's just great to see people are eager and as excited as we are.
Yeah, this is a big community. I'm super excited to be a part of this community with you all. I'm super excited to watch it grow. We're on Twitter. Reach out to us. We'll answer your questions. Please leave some questions down in the DM. We'll answer those too. I saw that someone said something about future projects. We talked about some of the projects. Look at that.
Hey.
So yeah, we will respond. We would love to respond.
Totally. Thanks again, Alec, for joining me here. It's crazy to me how we talk about, what are we going to talk about during the podcast? And then it's been like an hour, and it's just like, man, like we're just purely excited to be here. But I really do thank you for taking the time and joining me here, and joining me in conversation and giving the people something to be a part of.
Yeah, of course, dude. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of this conversation, bro. This is solid. I love the community, man. Haha.
Woo! NFTs, Metaverse, Web3, the Wild West, all of the exciting buzzwords.
Eagle is the future.
We're out of here. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in episode 6.
See you next time, guys.
Peace. Woo!